Camilo, if we use these microphones, are you able to hear us a bit better?
That sounds way better. Thank you.
Okay,
Can you guys
awesome.
hear me okay?
Yes.
Good,
Welcome.
good. Hey, Jay, everybody.
Hi, this is Jay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Camilo? I just want to
Yes,
make
I
sure
can.
those of you on Zoom understand what we're doing here, which is waiting to get one more person online. We
Got it.
have someone out there. We're switching getting them a proper connect, a proper link, and we should be ready to go shortly.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sorry about the wait.
No, 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 not at all. No. Also, with the change of administration, a lot of the access to website modification, Facebook, and in social media in general has changed or is in the process of changing. So we're still working on that.
That's great. Welcome, Mary. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, everyone. I'm feeling much better than I've felt in a long time.
Good.
Good to hear.
Yeah, thank you.
No, let's stay with the order, with the agenda. I want to just follow up on the 2 or 3 items that we talked about before, so they're on the record, which is you were going to look at seeing about getting the urban heat island image on the website, and I know that's still a work in progress.
Yes.
You were going to see who leads the environmental subcommittee, and you found out that Eric Gitchier is the chair of that, we think.
Yes.
So that's great news. I'll reach out to him. That's excellent. And you were going to see about bringing up the idea of a sustainability manager at the meeting of the master plan, and it sounds like that's happening in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, the kickoff meeting for the steering committee is happening in a couple of weeks. That's going to be some introductory work. So that might be something that is brought up at later meetings, but I will keep everybody updated on that.
Fantastic.
Sure.
Great. Does anybody else have any questions or items for the meeting minutes approval?
No.
Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes for August 25th.
Second.
Do I also vote?
Well, we have a second now, so we can vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
Because we did not have a quorum at the meeting in August, we still need to approve the meetings from the July meeting as well, or the minutes from the July
Well, actually,
meeting.
I wasn't at that August meeting, was I?
No, I don't think you were at the.
Oh,
August
actually,
meeting.
then I need to abstain because I can't vote on something that I wasn't present for.
Okay.
But is that a problem for
No, I think the yeas still carry.
the yea? Oh, yea still carried, okay. Well,
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the July minutes.
Second.
abstain.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion seems to carry. And we talked about it as another candidate for getting on the website, and we're still working on that, so we'll keep that on the list.
Yeah, so I asked the current director of DPD, so that is one standard that I wasn't aware of. So basically, committees are able to list their membership and the contact information for their membership, but the photos cannot actually be updated to the website just because that's what the standards are for committee pages. But of course, it can be uploaded to your Facebook page or your website. That's totally fine.
So then the question would be, we have a solar panel that's, I don't think, in Lowell on our website. Can we change those pictures?
Hey there, sorry to interrupt, but if somebody's talking, could you just press the button on your microphone?
Yes.
If it's green, then we can hear you. If it's red, then we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Are you having trouble hearing?
Sorry. Please,
So we do have a photo on the website. It's a solar array somewhere, I don't know where, and I wonder if that can be changed out.
I can ask about that. I'm not 100% sure, but I assume if the photo is already up there, you should be able to upload other photos. I'm not sure if it's a question of whether people can be in those photos or not. That might
Okay.
be what makes a difference,
All
but
right.
I will look into that for you.
Okay, thank you.
I have a picture of the solar installation on top of Loft 27, actually. There's 1,200 panels on the top of the building on Jackson Street.
That sounds like it would be an ideal photo.
Yeah, it's more urban looking and very Lowell looking,
Yeah, that's great.
as opposed to one in a field that is not, yeah.
I said it probably has a little skyline in the background. I'm sorry, I wasn't on mic. Can we move on to the next item?
Yes. So the next item would be the Sustainability Summit, planning for October 15th, working session number 5.
I have started with the agenda, the schedule. I'll pass that along. I've got enough copies for everyone, I think. That's here. And for those of you on Zoom, we'll take a look at the slide that's coming right up. So if we can, I'd like to look at the slide deck. But before I do that, let me just give a brief overview on where we stand with summit planning. And I'll need some help. But essentially, the status of the summit is the invitation has been crafted and revised and is being distributed now. We've distributed to our MailChimp list, which I believe is about 130 contacts. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And then people have been encouraged to disseminate through their own networks. And I'm going to send an invite out to the group as a sample, so that if anybody wants to just grab an already written email, you can do that and send it out. It would be great if we could get as many invites out as possible so that we've got the chance of filling the room. That's really what I want to do. We can take 50 to 60 people in that room, and I'd really like to make sure that we have that room filled on the 15th. So I will send that invite to the group and just try to make it a little easier. What we have also done, we've had 3 or 4 planning meetings over the past 3 months, and with Carolyn, Wynn, and Anna Christina's help, we've put together the items for the schedule, which include, let me get to the schedule when we get the slide up. But we've put together the schedule, and we are now working on a slide deck. At the top of the schedule, after the networking and coffee phase, we're going to introduce the Feasibility Council. And we're just going to do a quick 10 to 15 minute review of some of the things that we're working on. And we will also, subsequent to that, have a little presentation by Catherine Moses on what the city is doing, and that'll take about 10 minutes. So we're just doing a quick run-through so that people who know nothing about the Sustainability Council can get a little update on some of the things that we're about. So I'll show you those slides in just a minute. What else we've done is we started to line up food so that we're going to have coffee from Brewed Awakening. We'll have a lunch served. I know we're getting some help from Cormac and his food truck. Anybody remember the name of his food truck? It's on the top of my head, but I can't remember it. It doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. Sorry. So we'll have food served to make things a little bit more attractive for people to come and enjoy themselves. So we've done the planning for that. And then we've lined up Rory O'Mahony, who's going to deliver a keynote from UML. He's the executive director of the Rist Institute. So I'm excited about that. We really, as a group, feel there's a strong connection with UMass, and the ability to work together and collaborate is something that's important for the city. And I think that having Rory come and do that keynote will make our bond that much stronger. So I'm excited about having his presence at the summit. After the keynote, which I believe will be on the state of achievement at UML and what they are doing individually and in collaboration with the city. After that keynote, we'll take a break so that people can grab a coffee and maybe do a little networking. And then we have the En-ROADS climate simulation, and I'll let Carolyn talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the En-ROADS Climate Simulation is an interactive group role-playing game where participants take on the role of global leaders across industry, civil society, and business, and they together forge a plan to, a global plan, kind of like a suite of climate solutions to reach international climate goals. So there's the role play element in the room where you have some people representing fossil fuels, some people representing the, youth climate justice organizations, and ultimately all of the proposals that are given in role are entered into a computer model named En-ROADS for Energy Rapid Overview and Decision Support. And it simulates, within a moment what the long-term impacts of those decisions would be. So it's a really fun game. I think looks like we have about over an hour dedicated towards this, and it will include a debrief at the end so that we can discuss insights, feelings, and also applications to our more local setting.
Thank you, Carolyn. The reason that one of the other reasons I printed out the schedule was so that we could talk about the timing, because I know that you wanted a 90-minute segment for that, so we'll get to a discussion about timing. I want to make sure this is properly massaged. After the simulation, we'll do a lunch, and we're, it's a working lunch. We're only giving 15 minutes to lunch, so we'll be encouraging folks to, be relaxed and have lunch as the next activity goes forward, which is the Student Climate Change Awards. And the mayor is going to present those awards, is my understanding. So Mayor Chow will be with us and will be working to present those awards. There's going to be 3 climate change awards to young people who have taken on the competition to work with providing climate action initiatives that will be examples of things that you can do to fight climate change. So that should be really interesting. After that, we do next steps and closing and kind of wrap things up. So that's the schedule. We'll see it on slide in just a minute for those of you who don't have a chance to have it in front of you. And what I'd like to do now is look at the slide presentation. I'm going to have to switch screens, so I think this should work pretty well. Just need the mouse. Thanks.
I noticed also there are 4 messages in the chat. I don't know if folks shared anything, or if Mary or Camilo, you have anything else. I had that same in AC as well. How are the student entries? I've contacted both Boys and Girls Inc. Have we heard? Do we have submissions yet, Jay, from students?
We have. In all honesty, we only have 1 submission so far, but I have pending submissions from Girls Inc. and from the Environmental Youth Task Force at the Lowell Parks and Conservation Trust, Jane Calvin's group. Mm-hmm. I have been tirelessly working, it seems like, all summer trying to get people signed up for this challenge, and it's been very, very difficult. We missed the timing boat with the city. We weren't able to get our competition together in time before schools closed, so we've had to work with nonprofits that have youth programs like the YMCA, the YWCA, and the aforementioned Girls Inc. and about eight or 12 groups we've been working with this summer to try to get applications and competition entries produced. So we'll see how that goes.
I think you were going to share the slides on this.
Thank you. Well, I just wanted to make sure, did we address all the comments?
Looks like has shared a teen block event.
Mary, could you tell us a little bit about this group?
I'm not very familiar with the group, but I know it's part of the Lowell Community Health Youth or Teen Activities. So I was just wondering if you've reached out to Lowell Community Health Center.
No, I have not. That's a great lead, and there's only a couple of weeks left, but I'll do so. I'll call them tomorrow. Can I get this link can you possibly send me the link, or how would I get to that link?
I will have a copy of the whole chat at the end of the meeting, so
Okay.
I'll be able to get the link and send it to you.
Thank you. That would be great.
Sure thing.
Okay, so let me switch over now. I think it looks like Anna is going to join us. Is that what she's saying? Or she's
Anna's here.
just telling us, oh, she is?
She's here. She just
Oh,
joined
there
a
she
little
is.
bit late.
Okay, great. Hi, Anna. Hope you're feeling better. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to switch the screen here. This is slide number 1. This is our title slide. And what
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I think you need to actually share the slides through Zoom. So you should be able to share your screen if you go back to the Zoom page.
If you just click at Zoom.
There you go. And then it'll let you, just share that window.
Can everyone see the slides?
Now we can, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So this is our first slide. There's approximately 12 slides. I don't know the exact number. I'd like to go through and get your critique of what we have so far. Maybe go through it once quickly and then go through and spend a little time on each slide. So this is the title slide. Welcome to the 2022 Lowell Sustainability Summit. This is our schedule that we just talked about. And you can see we've got 10 minutes to get people settled and have coffee. I've worked really hard on trying to be fair and equitable with the timing, and it still needs some work. So we're going to work on this tonight a little bit. But this is what we have right now. There's a lot of program that we want to plug in here, and unfortunately the introduction of Sustainability Council didn't make it into the invitation. So we're going to just have to live with that, and I think it'll be fine. We'll just explain as we go. Council members? Council priorities, essentially 3 categories of priorities: policy, practice, and education, and there's some examples there. Road to 100%, I don't know if we want to keep this. I need to talk to Michaela about this. This is an older slide. Community choice aggregation. Slide 2. Electric vehicles. Cormac is working on this slide. Greg, I have your slide. Where is it? There it is. It needs some work. It needs some work. I copied it over. Now it needs to be massaged properly.
Is it on the drive?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I could move things around.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of just tried to get it in place. I
okay.
didn't know how to get it into shape.
Jay, did you?
Jay, is this slide extracting some of the information from Goal Law that already addresses bike and pedestrian mobility?
Greg, can you address that?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The question is if this slide specifically for bike and pedestrian mobility already has some of the information from the Goal Law plan.
That was, I mean, there isn't specifically any Go Lowell information in here. This was some back-end data work that I was doing for Chris Hayes for the level of traffic stress bike network development. So it could potentially use the Go Lowell data, but this model does not use that.
We will share that with you so that you compare whether this is sort of aligned with whatever's on Golo, because that's going to be the primary focus or the primary basis of the transportation chapter in the master plan. So everything that we do for bike and pedestrian mobility should come out of Golo, because there was already community engagement out of that and a lot of engineering and data based information that we have plugged in for bike lanes and sidewalks. So hopefully this is all aligned with that. If you were working with Chris, I'm assuming that very likely that's aligned, but we'll send you the information and hopefully it's sort of they coordinate.
Okay.
We also have a comment from AC in the chat that 30 minutes for an intro seems long.
AC, that 30 minutes, we will gladly cut that down. We need to coordinate with Catherine Moses on her piece. I've asked her to try to go to 10 minutes. I expect that it might get inflated to 15, so I'm figuring 15.
Okay, I think that's what I was missing.
Yeah,
in my
but
head.
let's talk about timing when we get to that point. I think that's a good point. Thank you. So, okay, next slide. Lowell needs solar. This is the high school solar slide. Recycling is in progress. It's under construction.
Yeah, I feel sorry. I feel bad for this. I will look at this Friday and send it to you for edits.
Sure. No problem. No problem. Oh, so next steps. I don't know if this is out of place. Weatherization, we decided not to do. I mean,
If I may say something, what do you mean by no steps? Next step?
well, this, I think, is out of sequence. We want to have next steps at the end. We want to give people something to think about leaving the summit. There should be an ask or an encouragement of some kind.
Okay. I mean, the slide deck is great, but it's actually missing some of the most significant things or questions that are going to emerge. I mean, that we are looking at as a state, as in the city, in the future, in the so near future. So I don't know whether that would be where next steps come in, like our challenge to decarbonize, our challenges to reduce energy burdens.
I thought the next steps was going to be inviting people to either tell us what they want to see in the city or to join us. I thought that was what next steps was for. I'm confused.
Yeah, but a summit should also really introduce people to the real issues that they are going to be facing in the near future. So I don't know I don't know how that gets. I don't know how that fits in, but I cannot imagine participating in a sustainability summit and I live there thinking that we've solved or we are solving some of our most big challenges that actually lie untouched in the city of Lowell. And we don't have to factor it in this summit, but these are like real facts that who knows, maybe our high schoolers, people in college, or just regular people here may have great ideas on how to fix them. So,
I think we're bringing up some good points. Let's just finish the slides. We're going to go through this quickly first, and then we can focus on individual thoughts and slides in a little more depth. If that's, let me just move on to the last 3 slides. So weatherization, we decided we couldn't work on that. Urban heat islands, and slide number 2. So that's the slide presentation as it stands now, and I think next steps would have to be at the end. It's out of place. So let me go back to the, well, maybe it sounds like, let's talk about next steps.
If I could jump in, this is Carolyn, quickly. In response to Mary's comment, with this, so I think this slide deck is going at the very beginning, just to give folks an idea of who we are as an introduction and what we've accomplished over the last year or so. And after hearing from Rory and then going through the simulation, one of the insights that comes out of the En-ROADS climate action simulation is some of the insights are around the scale of change that needs to be made on a global level and also the urgency. And I think that would set us up really well. Typically how I run debriefs following this type of simulation is, okay, we know these are some global dynamics and they also apply to here in Lowell. And so I think that could be a good chance to facilitate a conversation. Keep it open towards the beginning for folks to be able to share some of their thoughts coming out of it. But Mary, if you have kind of some talking points or key pieces of information about how this relates to Lowell, I could definitely, we can kind of work those into discussion questions or something like that we can cover. I think that would be a time to say, okay, what does this mean for us here? And then, of course, there's the next steps, which comes after the student awards, which I would think we'd want to discuss some specific calls to action as a council. Okay, I see a thumbs up from Mary. So, Mary, maybe I can reach out to you about some of those talking points or unanswered questions about how it gets done here in the city for facilitation. Also, Jay, did you want me to, I thought you had asked before for me to kind of beautify this slide deck. Would you still like me to do that?
Absolutely.
Once the content is all gathered and ready? Okay, I can do that. Yep.
So I think that we probably want to make sure that we have a proper foundation of presentation before we conclude the summit and we discuss ideas about next steps. I think the idea of the challenge to decarbonize, reducing the energy burden, I do think that the En-ROADS simulation will bring some of that immediacy, some of that, as Carolyn says, the scale and urgency to the table, but it's really up to us to make sure that it gets talked about. So I'm going to go back to the beginning of the slide deck and look for comments as we go.
Maybe weatherization should go under that as well, under the next step, since we haven't done anything with it.
Well, we don't have, I didn't get a volunteer to do weatherization, so I don't know what we can, if somebody wants to work on it now, that's great. But right now, I just, we didn't have the bandwidth. So the title slide, any comments?
Jay, what type of feedback are you looking for at this stage?
Graphical, compositional, inspirational. Just looking for input for what we have.
Okay.
A welcome slide.
I mean, the look and feel of this slide deck will be different after I have a go with it. So I'll add some coherence and, some more branding. So I mean, I don't have any visual comments at this point. I think we could make this a little bit more aesthetically pleasing after. In general, just looking through the slide deck from when you went through the first run, we know that having a lot of text on a slide is not effective. So making if a sentence 3 bullet points and folks have their talking points and stay pretty on track, and an image, 2 images. I think in general that's the feeling that I got, that some of the slides were loaded, and then I know we're going to discuss timing afterwards, because if we have 10 or 15 minutes and it's at 1 minute per slide, I don't know, we might be pressed for time. That's all I'm.
Yeah, I think a minute is generous. I think our budget is more like 45 seconds.
Right.
So quick pass through. So understanding that there'll be significant changes, there's an issue of aesthetics and branding and look and feel. Let's still just see if there's other comments that we can mine before we move on. And there should be a planning session coming up. I guess that's the other thing I want to pin down is when can we get together as a planning committee? So we'll talk about that next. Schedule. This could easily be a little more graphically pleasing.
And we need to correct Rory's name.
Oh my
spelling,
gosh.
too.
It's-
Yep.
How did
and
that happen?
En-ROADS. But I mean, again, these are things that I can go over.
This is a PDF, so I can't change it. That's surprising. I don't know how that snuck in there. Council members, do people want more than just their name?
My name has no H in the Christine.
Oh. I don't think I can do anything about that. Thank you.
I think just names is fine, to be honest.
Okay, any other comments?
There'll be a ton of comments the night before.
It'll be too late. This is probably enough information if it were presented with less words written, read, you know what I mean? I think you could have the slide and have a little more information like this and just say one sentence about each bullet point. But I'll let you handle that. So we need Cormac.
I will do Friday. I will definitely do it. I've been working nights, so I'm a little loopy right now.
AC, we appreciate all you do. So don't worry about it. I'm excited to get it. You say Friday, you think?
Yeah, tonight's my last night, so I should have the day tomorrow,
Okay.
if I can stay awake.
Well, then we'll give you till Monday. How's that?
Even better.
Okay, so let's talk about next steps. Understanding now what you know about what we're doing through the summit, I'd like to hear people's input on how we should get people excited about doing something after the summit. Ideas?
I missed that. What are you looking for ideas for?
I'd like to know what we can do to energize the group that will be at the summit. How do we get people to leave the summit feeling uplifted and motivated and ready to take on the mantle of accepting the challenge of climate change and doing something about it?
I think once Carolyn does the cohesiveness with the slides and the En-ROADS presentation, I really think that's going to be great. I think people will become engaged with that.
I mean, a quick response, the research that we've done around the simulation tools have shown that like 88% of participants leave feeling a sense of urgency, and there are gains across different knowledge and emotional, measures. So I think that will be effective. The question that I have in terms of next steps is if we have a specific campaign or action that we can invite them to support us on. Is there a certain meeting that we're going to City Council for about urban heat island effect? Are we advocating for the sustainability manager position? I think the easier or the more straightforward of a call to action that relates to what we're doing is, I mean, we could do a general, what are you going to do? But I mean, I think we can lead on that and have some answers. Mary, do you have something?
No, but I mean, what Lower needs is a sustainability manager, not just an energy manager. So that's a huge thing.
I've been looking, Wynn sent me some links to the sustainability managers from other cities. So my goal is to try and call them and find out exactly what they do and try and, make that palatable to the counselors, what exactly a sustainability manager would help them with. That's my goal.
And even if is what Lower has is a huge focus on the municipal buildings and everything else, but there is Lower is not focused about the residents, and especially the low and moderate income residents. And municipal buildings are not the only thing that matters in combating climate change. So it's either they get a sustainability person or they expand Catherine's mandate.
If I may suggest, I'm not part of the board, but I think maybe we can take advantage of the master plan that's about to begin and sort of make sure people are excited to participate in those conversations, because even though the master plan is about infrastructure and mobility and housing and all these things, sustainability and resiliency are inherently involved in everything, right? And so making sure that they are aware that there will be some posts about community meetings to make sure, get them excited about participating, because the conversation about sustainability at some point, regardless of the topic, is going to come up. And so let's take advantage of that. It's already paid for by the city. There's going to be a heavy sort of marketing strategy around the master plan. So I think that maybe that's an opportunity for the Sustainability Council to say, this is how you can help. Please make sure you participate in all these meetings. Please make sure you voice from every neighborhood. Please make sure you voice your concerns about lack of trees or how do we do recycling. And so we can hopefully share some pictures with you, maybe even the logo of the master plan. But I think it's an opportunity, just a suggestion, because that's kind of a clear action, which is participate in these meetings that will inherently talk about sustainability and resilience.
No, I agree with that. That's why I thought that the next steps we were going to offer either an email address, or we could say something like either people want to join us or they can tell us what they want to see in the city. Not that we're necessarily going to, have action behind their wishes, but it would be good to know what they want.
And ideally, the master plan is a way to get to the action. So ideally, it's not just, it's about hearing what they want, and it's about sort of the trade-off of what is the cost of not doing these steps. But at the end, there will be a set of implementation strategies, and hopefully that's part of that chunk of things that the Sustainability Committee can extract from the master plan and say, this is specifically for sustainability. This is how we're going to do it. And so,
yeah, I agree.
Just saying, we're already paying for it. Let's take advantage of it.
Agree.
I think that's excellent. I'm actually part of the steering committee for the master plan, and I think it's really great to have participation in the master plan process as one of the things that people can do. And I don't know, Jay, whether you will be interested in sharing Mass 350 weatherization flyers or stuff like that, because that's an action that people can take.
There's the E4L program that 350 is working on. That's a wonderful program and could be a terrific model for folks to start to buy into. But I think that can be mentioned as part of the conversation about the master plan. It can be developed in concert with. I think if we embed a slide about the master plan, we can bring that up. I really would like to do that if at all possible.
I have to go. I have to get ready for work tonight. It's my last night doing nights, thank God. But I'm sorry I have to bow out.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay, bye.
Camillo, can you get us any information about something that would explain the public steps that are being taken, maybe a schedule of the open house meetings that you're having, or how people can get involved with being on the committee for the master plan?
Sure. We don't have dates yet for that, but we will have eventually a schedule. But I think it's important to let people know that there's something coming up. I think the kickoff for the steering committee, Mary, if you're part of the steering committee, will be October 5th. That's probably when we start tweaking the schedule. But we can get the logo for you and sort of a broad explanation of that. That's one of the next steps. We will be talking with the community. Please be on the lookout for Facebook posts or website updates. There will be a website address specifically for the master plan. I can't remember if we already have that, but I'll make sure that I'll share anything with you guys, because I think it's worth connecting. Same thing with Go Low. Go Low will be part of the transportation chapter for the master plan. That's why I think it's important that we sort of coordinate all these efforts. So I will make sure that we'll get you as much information as possible for this presentation.
I don't want to rush you. Go ahead.
There are also some small personal changes that people can make, like getting to know their energy bills, making personal changes to reduce energy consumption, contacting their local municipal office to find out if there are opportunities for energy savings, talking to their neighbors, getting involved in any public process. I think we should include that somewhere, that there are those simple things also.
Mary, could you put a slide together? Are you feeling up to doing a slide?
I actually have a slide I did for you, Mass, on action items, and I can send you that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not going to be, it's not complete. We have to add all other things, but this is an example of things that, each person can do.
Can I
Go ahead.
jump in one more thing about the sustainability manager? I know only Jay and I were here for Catherine's presentation last month, but she spoke about how when she was first hired as an energy manager, and over time her role expanded into something that basically looks like a general sustainability manager. And when I asked her about, does she see a need for a sustainability manager and how would she communicate that need to the city, she answered something along the lines of, like, a lot of the tasks that would be associated with that role are already being done, and she doesn't feel like hiring a new staff is necessary. It's difficult to hire new staff, so we'd really have to communicate the need. And another piece of that is, if we want to be effective in communicating that need, we might have to meet and look at what sustainability managers are doing in other places and kind of put together what those tasks and what that role would look like in order to be able to compare to what Catherine's doing now. So I think I only just want to bring that up because only Jay and I were here, and I was very surprised to hear that Catherine did not think that role was needed. And I think if we see that if it is needed, we are going to have to do some work to put together something in the back end. So I wanted to share that. Mary, I don't know if you read the conversation from the minutes or anything, but you can see more of her response there.
Yeah, that's fine. And we maybe don't have to talk about that role at this time, but something has to change. And we have the means, and we will create that change in law, even if it means talking to our council members about it. So I wouldn't just have that discussion here. I think it's a much broader conversation that may actually be political. So this is not the place for it.
So we won't include that then in next steps, action items. That's something sounds like later. Okay.
Well, I think it can be part of a healthy discussion about the future. Anything that moves us towards our target is something we have to constructively examine and think about. So I wouldn't say that a sustainability manager position is off the table for our conversations. I think it's part and parcel of what we're all about, which is promoting sustainability and devising a structure on how to get there. So I'm not sure I would, if you're suggesting that we not talk about it, I wouldn't do that.
I'm not suggesting that you don't talk about it. I think you have a better forum to discuss it and get it achieved at the steering committee level, rather than. Anyway, I don't know, but that's my personal view. I would not put it as part of things to do in this particular summit. maybe at a different forum or at a different place, but not at the summit.
So I think concretely from just a purely production perspective of the slides that we're doing, I'm looking to get a slide on how to get involved, Mary, from your experience, the slide that you put together. I think that sounds like it could be worked into the presentation quite nicely, and a slide on the master plan and how that's being formulated and some of the outreach methods that you're using, whether it's Facebook or a mass mailing or whatever it is, a blog post. And then also, if we can work in some information about Go Lowell in our transportation piece, then we should try to do that also. But those are talking points that I think we can work with. Are there anything that we are missing that is necessary that we don't have?
Nothing that I'm aware of, Jay, for me.
Okay, well, I think that probably can wrap up the section on the master plan efforts. We have 25 minutes left, and Michaela is not here to talk about her business, so the rest of the time, there are some subcommittee updates that I have input for, and I'd like to get to those. Why don't we do that first? If we could move the agenda around a little bit, Sophie. I'd like to talk about the subcommittee updates first, and then if time allows, we can talk about the sustainability manager discussion.
Sure, sounds great.
The communications subcommittee, I had a follow-up on this. The MailChimp has finally been accessed. That's wonderful news. I now have a copy of that list, and we're going to try to build it up. We have roughly 3 weeks or so to the summit, and I want to encourage everybody to invite and reach out to as many people as possible. Your networks are there. Let's use them. Let's try to get as many people engaged with this summit as we can. I think that's super, super important. What I wanted to say about communications was that we need to decide on our long-term mailing list. The city-owned account is needed. That was a comment made in the notes from last time. And Sophie, do you have some input on that?
So I have inquired with MIS about that as well. The impression that I got was that they were not convinced that that would necessarily solve the problem, because I think the neighborhood planner would still need to basically control the credentials and access to that as well. I'm still learning more about it, but I think just as a suggestion, what I would probably do is just take all of the contacts that you have from the exported mailing list from MailChimp and then just make a spreadsheet in your shared drive and update it from there, like just in case for any reason you lose access to your mailing list again, you'll at least have that. But as I learn more information about getting a city-owned email, I will keep you all updated.
This is not a strength of mine. Can you tell me what the vehicle for this list would be? Is it Excel? Is it CSV? Is it something else?
Yeah, Excel would be fine. I know even because you all have a shared Google Drive and they have Google Sheets, which is essentially the same as Excel. So I think that would be a fine enough place to keep that information. And that's all password protected anyway, so I wouldn't worry too much about any security concerns.
Jay, once you send me the list that you'd like to add, I can put it all in one Excel in our shared drive, and I can take care of that.
Okay, that, is it, I don't want to slow things down. It could take me quite a while to purge through to piece through my list and draw names off of it. I don't have an efficient way of going about that, so I don't want to, is it something where it needs to be done in one step?
Not necessarily. I think if you have contacts who are not on the current list who you want to be invited to this summit, that would be something you'd want to get within the next week so that they have a couple weeks to RSVP.
Yeah, well, starting with city council, that's one list that we definitely need to have in there. So,
Can we also advertise that the mayor will be handing out the awards? Is that confirmed? Because that might be a draw for some folks.
yeah, it's a verbal. I don't have it in writing, so I'd rather get it in writing, and the mayor's in Greece.
Okay.
So I talked with Erastus on Tuesday, and let me get something back from Erastus, and I'll get that and whatever names I can do tomorrow for you, and we'll start with that.
I just also want to make a reminder that any requests that go to city council or the mayor or the city manager still have to go through me. So if you want me to contact their office,
Okay.
I can definitely do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
I've sent you the slide.
Oh, great. Thank you. Okay, that was communications. Does anybody else have anything on communications?
I'll make sure to add the event to the various city calendars. And do we want to plan one more subcommittee meeting for the summit?
Oh, yes.
Coming up? Okay,
Yes, thank you.
you're welcome. We can also do that online via email too, because we don't know about Cormac and others who have been on the subcommittee.
Well, at this point, I'd rather just get a date in there and not worry about trying to get loose ends that might not be available. We can have 3 people attend. So the first 3 people that agree, I think we should try to go with that.
I will definitely attend.
Okay, great. I will attend. Mary, you're the only other person in the room. Do you want to attend the planning meeting?
And Greg.
Oh, great, well,
We have to.
yeah.
I'm not blocking him.
I was looking at Greg, and I assumed he wasn't volunteering. That is correct. For a reason. Mary, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I'm still having difficulties
Okay.
attending actual physical meetings, but I can do virtual meetings.
Gotcha. Okay, very good. That's great, thank you.
I think she left me.
Yeah, she did.
Jay,
All
what
right.
time works for you? Or what day and time works for you?
I had this in the email, but I don't have access to the email, so let me just see. Do you have any time next Tuesday or Thursday?
I do, in the afternoon, earlier afternoon.
I have early afternoon available on Tuesday.
Okay, what time works for you?
I'm open.
Okay, I can go as early as noon until 5.
Okay. Can we do, say, 4?
Yep.
Or let's do 3:30. That keeps us out of 3 o'clock, then we can avoid traffic.
Okay.
Do you want to meet at the pavilion? The weather might not be good.
Weather might,
I have an
away that
office, we can meet
luxury.
in my office, or if you have a place that you'd like to meet.
I don't have a place. I'm not sure.
All right, well, we can fit 3 people in my office. Does 3 o'clock sound good?
3:30 or 3 o'clock? I can
Oh.
do 3 as well.
Yeah, let's do 3.
Okay. Three to 4, and you'll send the location for that. Awesome.
See if I have your email address, I'll send it to you right now. I do. Oh, no, I just have your UML address. So,
Want me to type in or give you my,
yeah, that'd be great.
because it's a pain to.
Also, Jay, I just want to remind you, you're still sharing the slides for the Sustainability Summit. I don't know if you
Nice.
would like to continue.
Yeah. Stop share?
Yep. Okay, my email is entered. I don't know if you're done with the invite.
Okay. I think I just closed this and then it will ask me to send. Is that the next step?
I think you could press save.
Oh, thanks.
Awesome.
Now you're listed as a guest.
Yes, I
Okay,
have it
perfect.
here.
Thanks. And I'll send that to Cormac. And that's for the 27th.
Tuesday, the 27th at 3.
Okay, the Heat Island Subcommittee. We were talking about putting a motion together. We didn't have a quorum, so we have a quorum now. I'd like to submit that we request the city refer progress on urban heat island actions to an appropriate subcommittee. And I guess, actually, if there is a environmental subcommittee, which there is now, we can refer that to the environmental subcommittee. So is there any discussion about this motion? I know we talked about it before, but I just want to make sure everyone has a chance to weigh in.
As far as I know, you will most likely have to submit that motion through me. I'll send it to the DPD director, and then that will be able to go to the environmental subcommittee. Camilo, do you know if that is accurate?
That is accurate. And just to reiterate, every communication that comes out of the Sustainability Committee has to go through DPD because it's technically the manager of communications for the committee. So everything that has to go through a third party, especially, even more especially, the council, city manager, and mayor has to go through DPD, which in this case specifically is Sophie. So that way all communications are clear and go, this is sort of the filter. Motions, request memos, they have to go through DPD, which in this case, again, is Sophie.
Okay.
What is the sort of division of labor with the city council and the environmental subcommittee? And Catherine Moses's office, because we're sharing. I was going to give another update for the Heat Island stuff because I shared all my data with Catherine. So she has her environmental contractor working on that data. Is the idea for them to analyze the data, report to the city council, then report to the environmental subcommittee, and then report it to us?
I think that would have to be instructional language established in the motion, right?
Okay. I'm just wondering, like, what can we just get the information from Catherine's office as opposed to going through 3 different levels of, I'm not sure where the data's going to come from for the Heat Island. Like, who's going to be, I think Catherine would be able to answer that now that we have the MVP grant for that, and she has the Heat Island data and is going to be doing something with it. I assume
We'll
that
touch base with Catherine as well to see where that report is going. She works directly in our office, so we'll touch base with her.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering whether we want to move down that road if the information is better coming from her as opposed to 3 layers in between.
Sure.
I mean, as long as we get the information, right? And that's what we're asking for. Like, we want to be apprised of what is happening with the Heat Island, what the city council is going to do to respond to the Heat Island.
Right, I think
Issue.
there's we're really talking about 2 things, as I understand it. We're talking about a motion, which is a formalized request that we want to enact, right? And then we have this information gathering, which is a different process that's going on between you and Catherine. I think that's absolutely fine. And if you were a private citizen not involved in the Sustainability Council, you could have that same kind of conversation. When it's when that conversation needs to move to a formalized point where it's in the minutes as a motion, then it needs to be handled through the proper channels. So I think, we want to make sure we're doing that appropriately and that everyone is apprised of what they need to be aware of. So.
Yeah, I was just wondering about the logistics. It wasn't, questioning the motion.
Okay, very good.
But even request for any additional work that Catherine Moses has to do still has to go through Sophie, just to make sure that there's no conflict in her line of work and the committee's requests.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Next item, Lowell High School letter.
Sorry, can I just do another quick update on the Heat Islands? So I have been sharing, Catherine Moses contacted me, and I've been sharing the analysis data that we used to come up with our analysis for our presentation. With our data sources and our methodology, so she has all the data now, so she'll be using that for her own needs.
And part of that is exercising the aspects of the MVP grant?
Yes, right.
Well, that's wonderful. That's really, that's a very nice example of a, what's the word? Achievement that the Sustainability Council has made on behalf of the city. And we want to talk about those at the end of the year so that we can show and demonstrate our value to the city as a group. Is there anything else on Heat Island? Hearing none, I'd like to move on to the last subcommittee update. We have just enough time. The letter of support to draft, I'm sorry that Anna Christina has left, but she wanted to put a letter of support together for the Lowell High School and the solarizing project. Do we want to talk about that now with the few minutes that we have left, or should we move on to sustainability manager discussion? It's open to the group. Hearing no comment, I think that we should move on to Sustainability Manager discussion. Anna can talk about the letter of support when she returns, and we can take that up in the October meeting. We have just a few minutes left. I know we started to talk about Sustainability Manager. I looked for Wynn's folder in the shared drive. She has a folder called Sustainability Manager. Has anybody had a chance to look at that?
I haven't looked at it, but I think we need to, I want to like express my heart on what my thoughts are. Because the issue in Lowell is not whether we need a sustainability manager or not. We have a problem. And the reason there are calls to have an overall sustainability manager is really so that some of these problems can be tackled. Now, whether I'll define the problem and whichever way, whether this problem is going to be resolved by having a sustainability manager, I don't know. Whether this problem is going to be resolved by changing strategy and focus at the city's environmental departments, it's possible to just leave it to them to decide. But this is what the problem is. Lowell has been very successful in managing its municipal buildings. There's no doubt about that. And how, and managing the interests of, buildings needing to be green and all that kind of stuff. And that's awesome. Lowell has also been very successful in getting the CCA approved, which actually serves a cross-section of Lowell residents who honestly are not the low and moderate income people. Now, the biggest challenge to climate change policy is decarbonization, and it is decarbonization of existing buildings. This is a fact. So Lowell has a lot of other buildings that are not part of the city's portfolio. A majority of the people who live in Lowell live in rented units. The entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts has a problem in trying to bring energy efficiency or decarbonization to this housing. So what are we left with? We are left with high greenhouse gas emissions. We have no strategy on how we are going to reduce that section of our economy. Secondly, we are left with the potential of having a lot of people in this city left paying for stranded gas assets. This is a very serious problem, and Lowell needs to pay attention to it. We just passed a new climate bill. 10 plus cities that are very wealthy are soon going to be having fossil fuel ban pilots. So these are serious challenges that are staring at regular people who live in rental and who speak other languages and all that kind of stuff here in Lowell. This is the problem the city of Lowell has not been able to solve for years. And whether we have all the greenest bikes in the neighborhood, whether we have awesome transportation that's EV, we're not going to make a dent on greenhouse gas emissions until we are able to do something with our building. Now, other cities like Boston have done a better job than Lowell. Why? We can say they have a lot of resources, but in addition, they have a robust environmental team. So will having a sustainability manager help us solve this problem? If it will, then we should get one. If it won't, the city of Boston needs to provide its residents a strategy on how this issue is going to be resolved. So I just laid out the problem. So that, and that's my push. That's why I've been pushing for a sustainability manager. I really don't care much about getting a sustainability manager. If there's a strategy that addresses this problem, I'll be very happy.
Very good. Others?
I mean, Mary and I have talked about this before as it relates to specifically looking at residents who are renters and kind of another added layer of working with landlords and what that could look like. And from the way that you framed this problem, Mary, it sounds like Lowell is effective and efficient at municipal duties and kind of the typical responsibilities, and that in order to really make a difference and to solve this problem of decarbonization, we're going to have to do things a little bit differently, and that right now those who have the positions that are looking at this general realm of this climate and sustainability issue may not have the capacity to work in a different manner or tackle a different way of, I don't know, thinking or strategizing to bring on board or to serve the Lowellians who haven't already benefited from other types of, initiatives to, for energy efficiency, et cetera. So, I mean, I have no, expertise of about sustainability managers and how effective they can be on this, but it sounds like there's a general, like from your message, Mary, it sounds like there's a general call for answers from the city as to how they're going to, what's their strategy for getting to our goals. I don't know if this is wrapped into the master plan. I also know there are other issues because we don't have accounting. We don't know how far away we are from our goals in general. So I don't know. It's a big question. Those are just my thoughts. I don't have any good answers or anything right now.
Greg, do you have any input on this? So I think that the problems, as stated, are absolutely right in front of us. I don't think there's any dispute, and I don't know if a sustainability manager is going to be the key. We know that Catherine Moses doesn't feel that it's necessary, but I think a lot of her hesitancy is because we don't have funds right now, and we'd have to really make a huge concerted case to get funds dedicated. So I think we should look at what Wynn has put in the folder. I think we should avail ourselves of some more information on how to solve these problems, and if a sustainability manager is a likely helping component to the solution, and go from there. I haven't looked at the folder. I tried to find it. Actually, I couldn't find it on my phone. So if somebody knows where it is, please let me know. I should be able to find it on my computer, I'm hoping. But there is a Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, not to take much of your time. I've been very fortunate because I happen to work with every city in Massachusetts through the Energy Efficiency Advisory Council. And I have found out, my colleagues and I have found out that cities that actually have a dedicated sustainability team seem to do better in tackling some of these problems. So it's a hypothesis. The city may have an idea that's different, but that's what has been happening. It's also true that cities that have had sustainability managers who are not just managing their municipal buildings have been more innovative. And when I say innovative, I'm talking about Cambridge on thinking about how low and moderate income residents can be put on a path towards, less dependence on fossil fuels.
Great, thank you. All right, we're after 8. I'd like to just quickly wrap this conversation up. Is there anybody who'd like to have the last word?
I just have one quick update for everybody. So I recently took a look at the Low Sustainability Council's page on the city website, and it does look like there are a few people whose membership expiration dates have actually already passed or they are approaching. So I just want to remind everybody to take a look at your status on the page, and if you are one of those people whose membership is going to be expired soon or has expired recently, then you can contact Mary Callery at the Human Resources Office. Her email address is mcallery, CALLERY, at lowellmass.gov to request your reappointment.
Lowell MA or Mass?
MA, sorry. And so your reappointment will eventually be on a future city council agenda, and if you would like to be present for that meeting, I can keep you updated on when that happens. It's not necessary, but if that's something that you want to attend, then you're absolutely welcome to, and I can keep track of when that happens so that you can be there.
Did you get my email on that?
Yes, and I can send you all of that information.
No, I've got it.
Okay,
I'm all
great.
set. Any new business, any upcoming events that people would like to get on our calendars?
I have just a quick note that our event, the summit, is one part of a larger program from the Lowell City of Learning organization. It is their 2022 festival. It's an organization that amplifies different types of learning opportunities in Lowell. So if you'd like to check out their website and see other sustainability related events that are on there, but also there are just a number of great food, crafting, discussions on immigrant and refugee experiences in Lowell. There's a really great program that you can see and that we're a part of.
Is there something coming up soon?
Yes, so the festival is going to be the week of, the 15th is the last, so I think the 9th through the 15th. We are ending it on that Saturday.
So we should definitely try to get involved in that. That's another way to collaborate with the university.
Most definitely. So if you go to lowellcityoflearning.org, you will see that there is a place to see their calendar and RSVP for everything.
That's great. I'd like to be involved. I don't have anything else. So if there's nothing else, could I have a motion to adjourn?
I could do that.
Thank you. And we have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your commitment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night.